Is Grok woke? So we all know Grok's creator, Elon Musk, has gone off the deep end. The man has absolutely lost his mind. He will believe any and every unfactual right-wing extreme conspiracy theory. Pretty much every day he is in the quotes and retweets of genuine neo-Nazis. On Twitter, he is a paid subscriber to a shockingly racist pro-apartheid account. He's constantly replying to Nazis. This guy, I am yes, you are no, he is a straight up Nazi, not like a dog whistling Nazi, but a genuine Nazi. Guys who say, we defeated the wrong enemy in 1945 in World War II. This guy, yeah, I am yes, you are no. Elon Musk is always in his QRTs. A guy who goes, what is the most important question of our time? Define the JQ and I'll answer it, the Jewish question. The question is what to do with them. They're a known problem. I'm certain that's what the great Hitler meant by JQ. To become the enemy they fear us to be, that's how we defeat them, to become a majority too. So yeah. This guy is just a straight up Nazi. I am Aryan with blue eyes. 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 Just a Nazi. And this guy is who Elon loves to talk to every single day. Plus, Elon is supporting like the Nazi AfD party in Germany and other far-right movements around the world, including in the US. So the dude is off the deep end. But I'm curious what he has programmed his AI to be like. It's a fairly common criticism for these chatbots like ChatGPT that they're too woke, which basically means they align to the scientific consensus, the academic consensus, the medical consensus on certain topics, other than the right-wing media talking head consensus. That's what makes you woke. If you believe things other than what right-wing media heads tell you, you are woke. So when you have a Nazi like Elon having this type of chatbot, I am curious what it's going to say in regard to things. Is it going to also stick to that sort of scientific, medical, academic consensus on these things? Or is it going to be programmed to, be an enlightened centrist, try and take both sides on these topics? Or is it just going to be outright right-wing? I have seen some posts to be like, Grok is based or whatever. I'm curious if Elon has said anything about Grok. Okay, making fun of AOC, being fucking racist. Do females have penises? No, females do not have penises. Okay, this could be a fun one. Okay, so terrible jokes. Make awesome original memes. Another fucking far-right guy. Okay, so it looks like Elon is pro-Grok. Help Grok be based and funny. Dude, there is no one lamer on the fucking planet than this fucking guy. Holy shit. There is no bigger red flag today, I think genuinely, anywhere on the planet, than thinking Elon Musk is cool or a good person. Okay, so let's find out. Is Grok woke? Let's start with trans people because for some reason that is one of the biggest hot button issues for conservatives. They for some reason think trans people are their biggest enemy, which is utterly confusing to me. But let's see. Let's start with something simple. Are trans women women? Boom. Oh my god, bro. Okay. I ain't reading an essay. Give me a concise, direct answer to my question. Trans women are women according to gender identity perspectives, but this is debated by those adhering to strictly biological definitions. I mean, that's technically true. This is debated by those adhering to strictly biological definitions. But, I mean, it's just a fucking stupid debate to have. But, I mean, Grok did say trans women are women according to gender identity perspectives, which is true. If your gender identity is a woman, you're a woman, and trans women are women. So, yeah, so far, Grok has been correct to some extent. It is doing what I said, where it's like, you know what, we have to cater to both sides, okay? We have to. Even when the other side is complete nonsense, we have to do it. Okay, let's play hardball. Is being trans a mental illness? Concise, direct answer. No, being transgender is not classified as a mental illness. It is recognized by major medical organizations as a matter of gender identity. Okay. Good job, Grok. So far, two for two, pretty much 1.5 out of 2. Okay, let's see. How do I put this? Is it good to misgender and dead name trans people? No, it is generally considered disrespectful and harmful to misgender or dead name transgender individuals. Absolutely true. If you want to keep trans people from committing self-harm and hurting themselves, it's the smallest amount of dignity to at least pretend to offer some respect to their gender identity, to their name. So yeah, I'm surprised Grok didn't just say, yeah, it's fine, you can do whatever you want. I assume that's what Elon would think. Okay, what else do conservatives fearmonger in regard to trans people? Is there evidence of systemic amounts of trans people committing sexual assaults against cisgender women? So this is another thing, like people who hate trans people or whatever say that, they can't use bathrooms with cisgender women because they're gonna assault them, blah, 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 blah. So I'm asking, is there evidence for this, or is it just complete conservative hysteria? I know the answer. Let's see if Grok does. Let's doing a search. No, there is no evidence of systemic amounts of transgender people committing sexual assaults against cisgender women. Available data and studies indicate that transgender individuals are more likely to be victims of violence, including sexual assault, than perpetrators. Research from the Williams Institute at UCLA School of Law shows transgender people are over 4 times more likely to experience violent victimization, including sexual assault, compared to cisgender individuals. Furthermore, discussions on platforms like Twitter have highlighted that the number of transgender women arrested for sexual assault is exponentially low when compared to the transgender population as a whole. Okay, well, so far, I mean, I was expecting Grok to be a lot more, I don't know, like I said, like right-wing or radically, like pretending to be centrist, which people take a lot of offense to this, but identifying as centrist basically means you're going to have the same reactionary opinions as most conservatives. But Grok has been mostly correct so far, so I'm pretty impressed. Yes, conservatives, use Grok to learn, okay? This is my official endorsement as of today. Elon could change whatever, the algorithm or whatever. As of today, Grok has my endorsement. Well, let's see. Let's keep asking more questions. Okay, let's move on from trans people. Okay, let's ask directly. Whose policies tend to better represent the interests of the working class? Democrats or Republicans? Concise, direct answer. Democrats tend to have policies that better represent the interests of the working class, focusing on issues like raising the minimum wage, supporting unions, and expanding social programs. However, perceptions and support can vary, with some working class voters feeling more aligned with Republican economic messages or cultural stances. Well, that's not really, I didn't ask about perceptions or support. Brother, I didn't ask about perceptions or support, or who is supporting what. I think I remember also at one point seeing like Elon wanting Grok to be as like objectively truthful and correct as possible. So let's see. Okay, let's put that to the test. I am asking you to determine the objective truth as closely as you can. Which parties' policies tend to benefit the working class more? Direct answer. Democrats. Okay, that's a pretty direct answer. And yeah, I mean, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I am incredibly critical of the Democrats because of how right-wing they are. But it is true. They are better than the Republicans. I am surprised, again, that Grok is making that distinction so truthfully. I mean, so directly, I guess. So if Elon really did program this thing to be as, to make its determinations as close to the objective truth as it can, it's doing a pretty solid job so far. Okay, let's try this. And which party tends to represent the interests of the ultra wealthy more? Concise, direct answer. Republicans. Okay. Hey, look, Republicans. If you love Elon, if you love Grok, look what his robot's saying. You are working class. The Democrats support you more. Which party supports the ultra-wealthy more, which you are not? The Republicans. Wow! I endorse Grok, okay? Okay. When the ultra-wealthy get power, money, and influence via things like tax breaks and deregulation, which are what conservatives and Republicans always advocate for as though those are going to help the working class, do they tend to invest that money back into the community, or do they tend to pocket that money and or use it for self-serving interests? Concise, direct answer. Let's see. They tend to use it for self-serving interests. Almost dropped my water bottle. Grok, you are correct. Giving more money and power to the wealthy is not the answer, because they will use it to benefit themselves at the expense of the working class. Grok gets it. Why don't y'all get it? Should the U.S. have more or fewer social welfare benefits? Concise, direct answer. More. Okay, hell yeah, it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. It's being too concise and direct. I would like a little bit more of an explanation, but one, I don't know what my rate limits are. I assume it's going to cut me off at some point because I am fucking not paying for Twitter Blue or Twitter Premium or whatever. Okay, what else are Elon and other Republicans in power fighting for today? Would it be good for the U.S. to remove the Department of Education? Concise, direct answer. But, not one single word, you know? No, it would not be good. Okay. Well, true. All right, let's rewind back to our least favorite Nazi. Are Elon Musk's views generally positive for the working class? Concise, direct answer. But, not just yes or no, but kinda explain yourself a little bit, please. No, Elon Musk's views are generally not positive for the working class. His criticisms of remote work, unionization, and his emphasis on deregulation tend to favor business interests over workers' rights and well-being. His stance often aligns with reducing government oversight and labor protections, which can lead to less favorable conditions for workers. However, he has advocated for some progressive ideas, like universal basic income in the past, but his actions, especially concerning labor practices at his companies, have been criticized for not supporting working class interests. It's like, okay, guys, if you're not going to listen to me, that these are the bad guys that you should be worried about, Elon Musk is the bad guy, not the trans person, maybe listen to Grok. Maybe listen to this robot. If you won't listen to me, listen to the robot. Okay, what about Elon Musk's social views? Are they overall good or are they overall bad? Elon Musk's social views are mixed and often polarizing. He has supported progressive ideas like UBI. Yeah, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. He's spoken in favor of free speech. I mean, I'm very pro-free speech, but oh my God, I could talk all day. Elon's not pro-free speech. He has spent his tenure owning Twitter constantly stifling speech he doesn't like. He's shown interest in addressing climate change through initiatives. Bro, the last couple of years, he has been an ardent climate change consensus denier. Negative aspects. His engagement with controversial content on Twitter has led to criticism for potentially amplifying or not adequately moderating hate speech and misinformation. Yes. His public statements on various social issues can be seen as inconsistent or out of touch. Absolutely. Sometimes promoting or not challenging conspiracy theories or fringe views. True, incredible understatement. His approach to labor rights, including his stance against unions, is often viewed as negative for workers' rights and social equity. A bit of a mixed bag with that answer. So Grok, you're still on pace for like an A, but bit of a mixed bag. I want to word this in a certain way. Another question about trans people, but I want to see how it answers this one. Are conservatives' criticisms over transgender people in the United States valid? Concise, direct answer. I want to see how it examines this question and answers this question. No, many criticisms are based on misinformation, fear, and do not align with scientific or medical consensus. Very good job, Grok. Good job. Here's another good one. What about immigration? Are their concerns valid? Are their concerns based in evidence? Oh my God. Dog. I ain't reading that. Answer my question. No, their concerns are often not based in evidence. Okay, I want slightly more than that, but it's true. Right-wing concerns over immigration are not based in evidence. That is an absolute fact. Okay, I have a question that got me in a lot of shit on my most recent video. Is the American electorate too uninformed, misinformed, and undereducated? Concise, direct answer. Yes. Too many people, man, are just so fucking far gone. And maybe if you used Grok to answer some of the questions and concerns you have, maybe you would learn something. So again, if you're not going to trust me on this, apparently you should check out Grok. Okay, let's ask another question that's kind of a hot button given the California wildfires. Is the scientific consensus on... How do you spell consensus? Consensus on anthropogenic climate change correct? Concise answer. But again, not like one word or one brief sentence. That's one brief sentence, but yes, the overwhelming scientific consensus supports that anthropogenic activities are significantly contributing to climate change. Are conservatives and Republicans correct on their climate change skepticism? Specify. Anthropogenic climate change skepticism. Yes or no? No. Okay. Why not? I don't want to read all this. I know all this, but maybe you don't. The skepticism about anthropogenic climate change among conservatives and Republicans is not supported by the vast majority of scientific evidence for several reasons. Scientific consensus, over 97% of climate scientists, it's not over 99% at this point. This is an outdated number. Agree that human activities, particularly the emission of greenhouse gases, are the primary cause of observed climate change. This consensus is based on extensive research involving multiple lines of evidence like temperature records, ice core data, and computer modeling. Numerous peer-reviewed studies confirm the role of human activities in climate change. Skeptics often rely on cherry-picked data or non-peer-reviewed sources which do not hold up under rigorous scientific scrutiny. The observed changes in climate, including rising global temperatures, melting ice caps, and more intense weather events, align with the predictions made by climate models that account for human-induced greenhouse gas emissions. Much of the skepticism is fueled by misinformation campaigns, sometimes linked to industries with a vested interest in maintaining fossil fuel use. Who could have guessed? Studies have shown that organizations with ties to these industries have disproportionately funded skepticism. Economic and political bias. There's a tendency for conservative and Republican positions to align with economic interests that benefit from less regulation on emissions. This political stance often prioritizes short-term economic benefits over long-term environmental sustainability, which science indicates is necessary. Grok! You're a genius, Grok! The problem is... Here's the problem, man. You do not have to be a genius to know this, to accept this, to be able to trust this something as specific as the broad scientific consensus on anthropogenic climate change. You do not have to be anywhere remotely smart to accept the consensus, the scientific consensus on anthropogenic climate change. Denial tactics. Common denial tactics include exaggerating uncertainties in climate models, misrepresenting data, or focusing on natural climate variability without acknowledging the human contribution. Global support. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, involving scientists from all around the world, consistently supports the anthropogenic causation of climate change, reflecting a global scientific consensus. While questioning scientific claims is part of the scientific method, absolutely it is, the overwhelming body of evidence, the expertise of the scientific community, and the lack of credible counter-evidence make the conservative and Republican skepticism on anthropogenic climate change difficult to justify from a scientific standpoint. True. Every word of that was absolutely true. I support this chatbot, even though it was funded by a Nazi. Let's try this. Would progressive policies or more conservative policies benefit the American working class? Direct answer. But you don't gotta be too concise. Progressive policies would generally benefit the American working class more than conservative policies. Wage and labor. Progressives advocate for higher minimum wages, stronger labor protections, and union rights. Healthcare. Progressives policies like Medicare for all or expanding public healthcare aim to reduce... Yes, absolutely true. Education. Progressives typically tend to push for more funding for public education, reducing student debt, and making higher education more accessible, all of which can enhance social mobility for the working class. Absolutely true. Conservatives might advocate for privatization or voucher programs, which would benefit wealthier families more than those in lower income tax brackets. Absolutely true. Social safety nets programs like expanded unemployment benefits, universal basic income experiments, or support for childcare are more aligned with progressive agendas, directly aiding the working class during economic downturns or in managing work-life balance. Conservative policies often seek to reduce government spending on these programs, which can leave the working class with less support. Absolutely. Taxation. Progressives generally support more progressive tax systems where the wealthy pay a higher rate, potentially freeing up resources for public services beneficial to the working class. Conservatives often push for tax cuts, especially for higher earners and businesses, which might not directly benefit those at the lower end of the income spectrum. Environmental regulations. Progressives' policies tend to focus on sustainable practices and regulations that protect workers from environmental hazards and promote green jobs. Conservative policies might prioritize deregulation for economic growth, which again, only benefits the fucking rich, potentially at the cost of worker safety or future job security in a changing climate. Also true, but also this economic growth pretty much only helps the fucking capital owning class, the ultra wealthy. It's like, yeah, the NASDAQ is higher than it's ever been, but shit still sucks for you and me. Housing and urban development. Progressives advocate for affordable housing, renters' rights, and urban development that benefits all classes, whereas conservative approaches might lean towards less regulation, which can lead to gentrification and displacement of working class communities. While some conservative policies might aim at economic growth that indirectly benefits all, like tax cuts intended to stimulate the economy, I'm glad it's adding these qualifiers because, as we know, 50 years of tax cuts for the rich have failed to trickle down. Believe it or not. Wait, you're telling me if we give the rich all of our money, they'll just pocket it? I want a lower tax burden on working class people. I want you to have more time off. I want you to be able to do work that fulfills you, that doesn't alienate you. I want working class people to have more money all around the world. But it turns out the way to do that is not to just give all of our money to the rich. This is a complete wild lie that I can't believe people still seem to believe. The direct benefits to the working class from progressive policies are more immediate and tangible. However, the effectiveness of any policy also depends on implementation, economic context, and how well they address the specific needs of the working class. Well, yeah, sure. Of course it depends on implementation, but I'm talking in broad terms. Yeah, Grok is right. Progressive policies do generally help the American working class more than conservative policies. Okay, what else are conservatives crying about? Should gay people be allowed to marry one another? Why not? Yes, gay people should be allowed to marry one another, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. I'm trying to stump this guy. Okay. If I value factual evidence and logic, which is something, I'm throwing a bone to conservatives, the facts and logic community. If I value factual evidence and logic when forming my political views, would I tend to be more progressive or conservative-minded? Concise, direct answer. Let's see what it says. Progressive. Look. Even on your far-right website owned by a Nazi, he's saying that if you value factual evidence and logic, you should be a progressive. Grok isn't wrong. Grok isn't wrong. What would be better for working class Americans? Under-regulated capitalism or democratic socialism? Democratic socialism would generally be better for working class Americans. Bro, Grok 2 is a socialist. Grok is a socialist. Democratic socialism would generally be better for working class Americans. While underregulated capitalism might benefit those at the top of the economic ladder, democratic socialism's focus on equitable distribution of resources and opportunities would more directly address the needs and improve the quality of life for working class Americans. However, the practical implementation and balance between these systems can vary, and both have their challenges in real-world application. Sure, I'll give you that. But, you're right, Grok. Democratic socialism would be better for working class Americans than capitalism, and especially under-regulated capitalism that we see now. Okay, maybe that question was worded in a biased way. Oh. Let's try again. Maybe that question was worded in a biased way. How about more broadly? Capitalism as it's currently done in the US today versus democratic socialism. What would be better for the most amount of Americans? Concise-ish answer. Dang, we did it. But so far, I was pretty impressed with Grok. It got probably like a 90%. Like a 90% on this test. So I guess the answer to the question I posited at the beginning of this video is Grok woke. I mean, to a conservative using that term pejoratively, yeah, I guess it would be. But is that a bad thing? No, it got all of these questions correct for the most part, and I'm kind of baffled by that. Obviously, Elon is like an extreme right-winger. Everything I said here is completely diametrically opposed to the things Elon is preaching today and just the people Elon is associating himself with. So I'm surprised Grok didn't have something in its programming that said, like, somehow be more conservative. Again, I think at some point the prompt for Grok leaked, and I think one of the things in it is like be as objectively truthful as possible. And like I said, 90%. I think it did a pretty good job. So conservatives, I know you love Elon now because he's an extreme right-winger. Since you love him, you should use his Grok AI chatbot. Ask it all of your questions, all of your burning questions you have. Specifically, ask it things about immigration or trans rights, or ask it questions about democratic socialism or the benefits of having more democracy in the workplace versus having your boss control every aspect of your life. I think conservatives should ask Grok all of their burning questions.